Mayor, I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Elmwood Park Mayor and Council to order for January 16th, 2014 at 8 p.m. On roll call, Councilmember Scaletti.
Here.
Dombrowski.
Here.
Martino.
Here.
Patagano.
Here.
Monsino. Here. Catamagna.
Here.
Mayor Mola.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Will everyone please rise for a prayer and flag salute? O God, our Father, we ask you to bless our meeting with your trusted fatherly care and protection. Please remove all selfishness and prejudice from our hearts and plant therein a keen sense of justice and a greater love for you and our neighbor. Guide us in our deliberations so our decisions will always please you and bring peace and happiness to our community. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Whereas Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of the State of New Jersey requires the commencement of every meeting a statement by the presiding officer, now therefore be advised the meeting requirements of this meeting have been met by publishing an annual notice in the Record of Hackensack, the Herald News of Woodland Park, by posting such notice in the office of the Borough Clerk, as well as in a public place within the municipal building and notifying interested citizens. Said notice was posted on January 1, 2014. Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is being videotaped. It will be on Channel 77, Tuesday at 12 noon, Thursday at 4 p.m., and Friday at 11 a.m. Tuesday, 12 noon, Thursday, 4 p.m., Friday, 11 a.m. And just so that you know, this is our Waste Watchers book. Continue, if you're still watching on TV, continue using this book till the new book is mailed to you, and that will be mailed shortly. But this book continues into January, so the Waste Watchers literally goes February to February. So you'll be getting your new one. Keep using this till you get it. Thank you.
Mayor, at this time, we have a presentation from the Elmwood Park Board of Education regarding the school referendum to be held on January 28th. So I'd like to invite up Dr. Tomko and Mr. Egan from the Board of Education.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Mayor and Council, thank you for seeing us this evening. We really appreciate it. I'd just like to introduce a few people before we start. Take a few minutes of your time tonight. First, gentleman in the front here is our state monitor, Mr. Thomas Egan. To his left, to his left is Mr. Jerry Rubino, who's our architect of record, Kara Rubino. Our bond counsel, Lisa Gorab. In the back here is Ray Crispino, our facilities engineer. And next to him is Wayne Demikoff, our interim business administrator, board secretary. We also have many of the board members in attendance, and there's some families here as well. So I appreciate you coming out and supporting us for this presentation. We have been here before, obviously, in this situation with the referendum. We have worked, I think, very well with the council last time in understanding what the town needed and trying to cut back as much as we can. We are now at our third attempt, and it is imperative that this gets considered by our residents for the safety and health and wellness of our children. We have put together a very, I would say, extremely conservative referendum package for Elmwood Park, which only really talks about what we need to make sure that our facilities can continue to be maintained, we can pass monitoring, and to make sure our children are safe. We have some areas that we've talked about many times before. Obviously, tonight you'll hear about those again. We have over an acre of roofing that has to be replaced. You know, some of your children, and those of you watching tonight, will say that when we get a bad rain, or if it snows, the snow starts to melt. We're one of those schools that has buckets in the hallway, or buckets in the gymnasium when we're doing standardized testing, catching leaks. There's over an acre of roofing. Also, this referendum vote, or this project, is going to affect every school in the district. It's not just one area, it's every school. There are projects in every school that need to be identified and need to be either remediated or replaced or renovated. The other major repair besides that, besides the roofing, are the windows. And I know all of you have seen some of the schools, and we've toured the buildings with most of the council, if not all of the council. And it's interesting, we said something the other day, is most parents kind of drive by the building, drop their child off, and hey, the building looks great, and they drive by. When you actually study and examine the building, there are many, many things that need to be addressed. Window replacements are one of those. Not only is it a disadvantage for energy loss, but also they have to replace, many of the sills are falling apart, they're crumbling, the lintels are crumbling. So that's very important. We also have major asbestos abatements, unit vents for heat. All those things are on this referendum that we're putting together for a vote in 2 Tuesdays, January 28th. One of our major concerns, which I think we started to bring up, it was my second week of work as superintendent, the north wall of Gilbert Avenue School actually collapsed. We were very lucky and no students were in the room. The room now, if you were in it, and then our students in the room was remediated for now, but the room is on an angle, sort of like this. And it basically just shows you how much the infrastructure of that building needs to be remediated and replaced. Gilbert, again, is one of our major concerns, and we've been talking about it forever. We actually pulled some pieces of the steel loft to show you. This is a lintel, it's got a specific name with an S, I don't know what it's called. But this is basically the steel just coming off, flaking off. This is the actual infrastructure of the building. You see it on the sills, all over. Actually, breaks apart. Sorry, Mayor. So I just wanted to show you, this is what we're dealing with. This isn't a cosmetic thing, this is a structural need. So that's something that we can, just to assure you, though, the safety of your students, we continuously have our facilities engineer and maintenance team inspect that. We also have engineers that are inspecting that to make sure we still can keep children in the building. But at some point, this needs to be remediated, and this is definitely the time. Also at 16th, there's going to be some conversion of some classrooms for some spaces there that we definitely need to house a growing population. Kindergarten right now, we have a lot of our kindergarten and pre-kindergarten rooms, which are saving us a tremendous amount of money, so we don't have to have students leave the district. Those rooms are on a waiver now for not having bathrooms in them and things of that nature. So these are things that we've all talked about before, and we are definitely at a point now, going through this the third time, where this is something that we need to do as a community. We need to really seriously take a look at this. I'm going to turn it over to our state monitor, who's going to talk to you about the fiscal part of it, but I think it's very important. Although all these repairs need to be made, if anybody really wants a tour, just call my office, and I'll give you a tour personally of the things that we need to address. But I think it's extremely important that you understand that through the work of the board, the administration, and with the help of the state now, we have the ability to get some very much so needed money for this project, and I think Mr. Egan's going to talk about that now. So, Mr. Egan.
Thank you. I know you have a meeting to continue with this evening, so I'll try and be brief. I asked the clerk to distribute to each one of you a packet, and the packet has a summary sheet on the front, and it identifies each one of our schools and summarizes the specific work that will be done in each one. And it also, though, which is of paramount importance, contains the documents, the letters, the transmittals from the Department of Education, the state of New Jersey, certifying that these projects are for state health and safety. There are repairs that must be done, and they've also documented and they're documented and it's committed to us debt service aid in excess of 42%. What that translates to is the total referendum is just under $10 million. It's specifically $9,922,000. 42% of that will be funded by the state, and that amounts to $4,220,000. The net total expense to the taxpayers in Elmwood Park will be $5,769,000. Translated, is you're getting $10 million worth of work and you're paying under $6 million. As the superintendent said, there are roofs that have to be done, lighting and ceilings from what were subject to damage from the leaking roofs have to be replaced. We have to make it safe for our children. This was no joke, this piece of steel coming. We have somebody inspecting Gilbert every week to make sure that the building remains as safe as possible. The district insurance company is the New Jersey School Board's Insurance Group, which is basically obviously connected with the state. Most disturbing, they did an inspection of the building and they were going to cancel our insurance. The building was in such bad shape. And they in fact reduced the amount of insurance. All our other buildings have what they call replacement value. The building gets destroyed, the insurance company will come in and pay us whatever the cost to rebuild the school. They've changed the policy on Gilbert to fair market value. And fair market value means the cost of the building less depreciation, which means that if the building ever became and reached such a state where it cannot be occupied, it would cost this town a fortune to build a new school. This is where we are with it now. Going on to the other schools, each one has similar problems. Once again, it's the roofs, as the superintendent pointed out, are the windows, the ceilings, and what goes hand in hand with the leaky roofs is the brick repointing. From the years of the leaky roofs, the water running down has penetrated the bricks and is going inside the buildings. You're going to have mold problems growing, and it just weakens the entire building. Once again, the state has thoroughly inspected it, they've certified it, and they're willing to give us that 42% in aid, which comes to over $4 million out of a $6 million project. I mean, $10 million project. I did the brief calculations. It would cost the taxpayers, if this passes and goes forward, approximately a little over almost $6 a month on their taxes. To me, it's just a more than a reasonable offer, because, especially with if you take into consideration the state aid. Our plan is that upon, and I'll talk positively, upon passage of the referendum, we'll be able to start work this summer. And since there are many projects, some of them are different, so some of them can start simultaneously. But with the roofs will have to be fixed first. Then we look to do the brick repointing. Those two projects, the roofs definitely, I believe, can be finished over the summer. Other projects can continue throughout next year, and that by September of 15, everything will be done. All the windows can be put in during school, when school's in session, because they do it at night. They come in and do one classroom at a time, or two classrooms, whatever time it takes for them to do it. The brick repointing, I'm not sure what the timetable would be on that. Fixing ceilings, and the ceilings you wouldn't fix until the roofs are done and the brick repointing is done. But once that is done, the ceilings can be replaced also in the evening when school is not in session. There's always the issue is, do we have enough money? And is there contingencies connected with the the projects, and yes, there are, there's contingencies built in to each building for cost overruns. But just to be more than safe and sorry that the district from current funds, by the end of this past school year, was able to deposit $250,000 into a capital reserve account, also to deal with additional contingencies if they should arise. We did have some members of the council just recently inspect the buildings, and prior to that, other members had come to the buildings and they've seen the shape of the buildings. The children, they need better. They need to be safe in the buildings and have to have a good atmosphere to learn. If you have any questions concerning the projects, you can ask now, or we can...
If I may, Mr. Egan, is there anyone in the audience who has any questions? Then I'll ask the council if they have any questions. Yes, Mr. Chwinsky.
What's the,
Excuse me, Mr. Chwinsky, if you would be so kind as to stand up next to him because they can't hear you on the video.
I'm sorry, just for my own purpose, what is the contingency percentage per building, you know? Yeah,
9%.
9%?
The answer was 9%. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Mr. Bufus, we can't hear you on the TV.
I can't see me on TV.
Can't hear you.
I get my screen actors guild card then? The referendum is for 9 mil. Mr. Egan just said that with the state aid, we are getting roughly $10 million worth of work for $6 million. Why not ask for a $6 million referendum? What's the other $3 million going to?
Anyone want to answer that question?
Sure, why not? That's why I asked the question.
We have $10 million worth of work.
Please use the microphone, Mr. Egan.
We have $10 million worth of work to do. If you go and have a $6 million project, you're not doing $4 million worth of work. We're getting a percentage. So if you reduce the referendum to $6 million, you would only get 42% in aid of the $6
Okay.
million. So you would just be drastically reducing the size of the project, and you would still then have many health and safety issues that the children have to face.
Still at all, if the referendum passes at 9 million, state aid, it's only going to be 6 million to us. So there's still another 3 million. Where is that other 3 million going to go? That we won't be spending on it, that the state is actually giving us.
No, it's $9 million for the entire project. We're going to spend $9 million.
You just said we're getting 10 million for the price of 6.
We're spending $9 million. The state can give us $4 million of that project. We're still...
Okay, but you're asking the town to approve 9 million, which means the town's going to approve 9 million for you. State's going to give us 4. 4 from 9 is 5. That means we will actually be spending 5 million out of the 9 million the town approves. The other 4 million out of the 9 million that was approved, where is that money going to go?
Once again, all the projects are listed. It's going to cost almost $10 million to do all these projects.
All right.
So all the money, $10 million, is going towards these
Okay,
projects.
so then if the town approves a $9 million budget, you don't need any money from the state, because you already got the 9 million from the taxpayer.
No.
Please let Mr. Egan answer.
22%, the state is submitting.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, you can talk all you want, no one's going to hear you. I think the purpose of the video is to tell people in the town what the program is about. So you have to use the microphone.
Just want to make sure it's broken down into English.
Once again, I'll try to repeat it. The list of projects that the voters are going to be, the money for which the voters are going to be asked to approve, all those projects total almost $10 million. The schools need $10 million to fix the infrastructure. Passing the referendum, we will have the $10 million to spend, and the district will spend the $10 million. The state will reimburse us almost over $4 million. So all the money is being spent to fix all these projects, and the state is helping us pay for it.
Okay, so they're reimbursing, they're not giving us 4 million towards that.
They are, it's the same thing.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Give us your name and address, please.
Jeffrey Freitag, 35.
We can't hear you on the tape.
Jeffrey Freitag, 35 Coleman Drive, Coleman Park.
The only thing I'd like to ask Mr. Egan is to explain contingency. I think it's something that needs to be explained. It's a word thrown out there so that everybody is clear as to what that means. If you would, please.
You build into any project contingency fees in the event that when you open the wall, you find surprises. So the contingency fees is there to address those issues.
Okay, and the other thing, I noticed that you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you're the expert about this, but you used the term reimburse. I think the state releases money at certain milestones based upon the opinion of completion of the architect or whomever is managing the project. Is that correct?
Yes, but that's when they release the money, but it's basically to reach that milestone, the district had to pay out the money to reach that milestone. So they reimburse us for the money that we pay out.
And I believe that comes in a fairly short period of time. It's not, we're going to wait a year. It's going to be within that particular period of time. It's more or less like
Yes.
you're getting a loan from the bank and you go to close and you get the money and then you're going to pay it off over time. But the money actually is 4.2 million, comes from the state. The project is 10 million, therefore it's 5.8 million in that approximation. Thank you.
May I comment on that? If the state is giving us approximately $4 million, whatever that number is, and that's given to us when the project's completed,
No, sir, it's as the project is ready.
when the project's completed, that money will be in our hands.
It'll be in our hands before the project.
Okay, does that reduce the amount of interest we have to pay? Do we still have to pay for $9 million, or are we paying only for $5 million now?
Well, the length of time that the bonds will be issued for is 20 years. So we will be paying off the bonds every year out of the local tax levy together with the state aid. So we were paying off that. So the money that we get from the state doesn't reduce the interest rate.
Can bond counsel do something about that? If we're getting $4 million, I'd like to pay interest only on 5 rather than 9.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Gorab. I'm from Wilentz, Goldman & Spitzer. I'm the board's bond counsel. You are correct. The state reimburses the district every year the 42%. Every year they write a check to the district to help the district pay off the debt. And that 42% includes 42% of the interest. It's 42% of the principal and it's 42% of the interest. So every year the district gets the check and uses that check to help pay off the bonds. So the local taxpayers are only paying 58% of the loan payment. That's correct.
Thank you. That sounds pretty good. Yes.
Will Benelli, 221 Washington Ave. I don't think that there's anybody out there who would deny that the schools need the work, especially with the roofs. I think the problem that a lot of residents are having is that there's been money approved before for repairs to be made to the schools that were never made, is my understanding. Maybe some of the council members can elaborate on that, but so I mean, I think that a lot of people will come out and vote yes, but they want to be sure that the work is going to be done.
I can understand your concern. One of my roles as a state monitor is to ensure that all the money for this project go and is dedicated and is restricted to these projects. As far as monies being raised by referendum in the past that were raised in the perception that they weren't devoted or given to address the maintenance of the buildings. I don't think that happened, just my whole, the brief history that I have with the district. The last two referendums were defeated, and the first referendum was for more construction. And the money from that first referendum did go to the schools. So it wasn't diverted into like salaries or anything like that. It went to the maintenance of the
Anyone else who wants to ask? Any member of the council who wishes to ask any question?
If I may, Mayor?
Yeah, I have one question. Thank you. Yeah, just to,
Mr. Boncino.
yeah, can you elaborate, please, on if you go forward with these projects, will all 4 projects be taken concurrently? And what kind of schedule do you anticipate the work being performed under, over?
We're going to try and do as many projects concurrently as possible. Once again, when you have the roofs at first, we're going to, when we go out to bid, the roofer will be bidding on the acre of roofs, and he'll come and he'll do each roof until they're done. Simultaneously from that, jobs that have nothing to do with the roofs, like for instance renovating the bathrooms, that could start simultaneously when the roof is being done. Windows, one of the problems with windows is that when the contract's awarded, they measure the windows, they have to order the windows. And windows notoriously have a long
Lead time.
lead time. So that would prevent it. As I mentioned before, with ceilings and electrical upgrades, they're not going to touch that until the school building itself is sealed.
Right. I guess I'm just looking at impact to the classroom and to the students with work going on at all four schools, maybe at the same time. And
Well, I think
is that an issue?
The impact is going to be reduced significantly because the roofs will be done over the summer. The only one I really don't have a handle on is the brick reporting. But as I said, with the windows, they can be done in the evening. Ceilings and upgrades in lighting can be done in the evening. As many of these items can be done in the meeting. Those who can't, the following summer, we can finish those projects.
I see. Okay.
The long-range goal, the short-range, but the goal is to have everything finished by September, opening school September of 2015.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes.
Mr. Coletti, you were fighting with me?
I like to, I don't have a question, but I just want to attest that I was there for 13 years at the school, and whatever they mention here, they're needed. Because, trust me, every time it rains, we have to get buckets, and it's really, it's getting worse and worse. And also the windows, especially, should be replaced, because a lot of energy goes out of the windows. They're cold, the rooms are cold. So, people in Elmwood Park, we should vote for this referendum. There's a need, a really need. So, no matter what, let's get everybody to vote. There's a lot of repairs to be done. Bathrooms, come on, go to the bathroom, you freeze when I go to the bathroom. Sometimes I vote to go to the bathroom, it was so cold. I was there 13 years, and I tell you, that's the truth. So please, people, vote. We need this referendum. It's not a lot of money, it's only a few dollars from our pocket. And this money is invested for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Egan, if I may ask, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for the job that you're doing for our school system since you came on board. Thank you for getting our house in order. Thank you to Dr. Tomko and the Board of Education for helping and getting that along. I also toured the schools, ladies and gentlemen, and I can tell you, I was also educated in those schools. I went to Gilbert Avenue School, and what I saw after 39 years of not being there, it's a shame, but it's unfortunate because the building gets old. We do routine maintenance to our homes, and because we can't allow it to get to that point, well, the school's at the point now where it really does need to get fixed. I personally, Mr. Egan, after what I've seen, would support this referendum, and I hope my family and my followers do as well. But I want to play devil's advocate for a second. What if this does not pass? What will happen to the schools if this referendum does not pass? What happens to the money? What's our options after that?
Part of my responsibility is state monitor, and I've reported this already to my superiors in Trenton, that I would instruct first recommend and if necessary instruct the Board of Education to appeal the voter's decision. And that would go then to the commissioner with a request that he overrule the vote and order that the bonds be issued. With the number of, and I can't speak for the commissioner, but I just know from the number of health and safety issues that you have in these buildings, we may be hard pressed not to make that, sign that executive order to have the bonds issued anyway. The major problem with that is the process could take a year to do, and there's no guarantee that the state aid will be there. Which means that, long story short, if it gets defeated, and the commissioner doesn't order the bonds to be issued, and you don't have the state aid, then the Elmwood Park taxpayer will pay for everything.
So in summary, it's either possibly 5.8 million or 8 million
Or 10.
or 10 million based upon.
Right.
So the taxpayer has an option to vote to keep it at 5.8, and we may not have an option and it'll go to 10. So I appreciate you explaining that. I hope everybody understands, and I hope the people who are watching this on video will understand that this is an important referendum for our town moving forward. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
We'll go to Mr. Coletti and we'll go down.
I guess the question that confronts us this evening is whether or not these repairs are needed or not. Now, a little background. I've been in construction for my whole adult life, and I was invited some 2.5 years ago, along with the former councilman Rich Drwinski, who's here with us this evening, to view the circumstances surrounding Gilbert Avenue. And say the least, I was appalled. We have steel lentils that support all the masonry and building, if you will, above those windows in a state of decay. Now, that is evident, and it was there. There's no getting around it. That has to be fixed, or you're going to run into major, major safety issues, and then the building itself probably would have to be evacuated. Some 1.5 years later from that point, I had the opportunity to actually take a tour of, it was a 3-hour tour. I know this sounds like Gilligan's Island, but it was
You know the professor passed away today, right?
a 3-hour tour of all the schools. And the decay was obvious in all of them. The roofing, I was amazed. Now, we all know we have roofs home. You get 25 years out of your roof, 20 years out of your roof. There's still some roofs there that were original when the buildings were built. I'd like to find that contractor. 45 years, he did a good job. We got our money's worth out of it. But we all understand, you allow water into your house, what the extenuating circumstances are from that water coming in, the damage, it just becomes tremendous. So looking at it from that point of view, a resident, a councilman, a builder, then the financial end of it, Mr. Egan just explained what happens if we don't go forth with this. But if we look at the dollars and cents, when are we going to get another opportunity to have 42% of this bill being paid by the state? And from what I understand, they haven't been too easy about giving out grants in the last couple of years. And I'm sure Mr. Egan had a lot to do with that, making it possible to bring this to the town. And I compliment you on that, Mr. Egan. So I guess it boils down to saying to ourselves, do we just close our eyes to this? The dollars that are going to be raised are dedicated to specific repairs and safety, so that takes that problem of the money not going in the right direction away? And how could we not take advantage of 42 cents on the dollar? That's it, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Pettigano?
Mr. Egan, thank you very much for coming this evening. In regard to what Mr. Councilman Coletti had just said, how often does money like this come around? From what I understand, the purse strings are very tight, and we are actually lucky to be able to get in on this at this point because there is so little money out there. So if we do not pass this, we may not see this for many years to come. And my second question is, it didn't seem very clear to me, if it does not pass, we do not receive that 42%. Is that what you're saying?
Almost saying that. What I'm saying is that if the referendum fails, we, the district, will appeal that voter decision to the Commissioner of Education. And that takes time to do. It'll take at least a year to do before he reaches his decision. And he has the power to order bonds to be issued for the entire 10 million, or maybe 8 million. But he can reduce it, he can adjust it, but he has that power and authority to do that. What we don't know is that promise of state aid may not materialize because of the delay. That money may have been taken and put into somebody else's pocket.
So it's imperative that we vote this referendum in. I mean, it's
I'm recommending that the voters do that and for a number of reasons, not only that financial end, but for the health and safety of the children.
right. The sooner the better. Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We keep on talking about money. I think there's everyone in this room. Is there a price on your kids? Is there a price on your kids' safety? We all keep on saying money. Mr. Egan mentioned $71. If 2 of us go out to dinner, it's going to cost us more. So how about we just don't go out to dinner one time a year and we forget that, and then we pay the $71. It breaks down to 20 cents a day. And if we can't find 20 cents a day, we need to either move or not be in this town because something is wrong. I'm going to mention Fairlawn, Rochelle Park, Hasbrook Heights, Lodi, Saddlebrook, Wallington, Woodbridge. What do they all have in common? They all received from $100,000 to $4.8 million from the state. Hunterdon County received $31 million because all these towns realized that it's not about money, it's about the children. And I can bet you right now that if anybody's children gets hurt here, the first they're going to blame is, why didn't we approve this? I look at it this way. If we're putting a price on our kids, then we shouldn't have kids. That's all I have to say about this.
Mr. Egan, just a couple questions. First, let me assure the people here that I'm not against this referendum. I want to make that clear. There were a couple others before this. I had some questions. This is the third referendum we're having. 2 defeated, now we have this. We had a major one prior to the 2 that were defeated. I'm in this building every day. People come in and ask me questions. I'd just like to ask you 1 or 2. The first question they ask is, what happens next? Is there any bond referendum coming up after this that you foresee?
Not on my watch.
Your watch is only 1 year. Do you foresee anything else possibly coming up? I want to be fair to the people who come here. They want to vote for it from what I hear, but then they say, what else is coming?
But I can honestly say, there are still more capital projects. These are the most dire ones that have to be addressed within the school system. However, I don't see a referendum to get them fixed, and I think that they.
Did you say 5 minutes?
I think that they.
How much time we have?
No, speak into the mic.
Have to speak into the mic.
Okay.
Never tells me I have to speak into the mic, I don't understand.
To repeat, as far as there are any other referendums on the drawing boards, and I said, no, not that I'm part of. However, I did say that there are additional capital projects that the district should address, and they will address them, but they will address them through the normal budget, and there will not be any request for additional outside funding.
Okay, that leads into just one other question. If the additional needs are at the school, is it possible to make this referendum larger if we're getting 42%? Why not take it for, instead of $9 million, go to 14 million, 15, 20 million? If you're getting that kind of money, will the state give us that 42% on that?
Not at this time.
Because another referendum coming up, they're not going to give us anything. What is the chance of us getting that kind of money for a larger bond issue?
There's not much of a chance.
They don't have the money.
Correct.
We'll have to find the money.
Well, once again, when a school district, just like the municipality also, when you prepare your annual budgets, you have your operating expenses, but if available, you would put money into your capital reserve account or your capital accounts to maintain your facilities, purchase police cars or fire engines or whatever you need, but that's all coming out of your operating budget. I believe that additional repairs to maintain the buildings, sufficient money can be budgeted to address those needs.
Okay, I don't disagree with you. I just know that repairs on these buildings have been there for years and years and years, and over these years, I've questioned why smaller numbers weren't put in to repair some of these minor or semi-minor projects. And if we did that over the years, the buildings would never get to this kind of repair. I hope this is a wake-up call to do, excuse me? I would hope that...
The issue is, and I think that one of the comments is, the district would love to have sufficient funds to maintain the buildings and maintain the academic programs. But in the past, those funds weren't available for a variety of reasons. So now, with the moving the school election from April to November, as long as the tax levy increase doesn't exceed 2%, there's no vote, so that there's a steady stream of money coming in so that the district can properly plan now to address the needs of the district.
Well, I'm certainly pleased that we're getting to this point and we're fixing the buildings. I was in favor of bond issues many years ago of going out and doing some of that. And people wanted to save money, and it was a foolish mistake to save that money and then run into a problem where you have this. So as I indicated in the beginning of my statement, I am not opposed to this. I think it should be done. We're never going to get that 42%. I'm just hoping that maybe you can get that 42% on a larger number for the bond issue. But
I tried originally.
you tried. Well, that's all we can do, right? Is there anyone else? I would like to thank
Mr. Mayor, there's somebody out there.
Where?
The young lady in the white shirt.
Lady in the white shirt.
Deborah Testa, 82 I'm just curious, with the first two referendums, there was all the bells and whistles and posters and everything. This one almost slid by me a little bit. And this is one I think people would really vote for. We need it. We're getting that 40% back. I don't know if it's the outlook of if they don't know, they won't vote no, and we could get more yeses, or a lot of, and also I think people are kind of, I'd say tired of it. I call friends, are you going? They're like, nah. So I don't, like in my head, it's almost like I want to see a flag go home saying, This is it, we're just doing construction, state's giving us 40%, go vote. I know you can't say go vote yes, but go vote. Also, as far as
You
asking
can, you
for
can
more
say
money-
go vote yes.
I thought you can't. I thought you can't do it.
You can.
Oh, I can. I'm very weak. I don't really do my opinions much. Also, when you said about asking for more money, when you're asking the state for more money, you're asking the people for more money, and it's been hard enough getting the town to put out money. So I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, I hope we don't have another project in 2 more years saying that we didn't fix it.
I hope not either.
Okay.
But I think at this point, I'll just be glad to see, my kids are in Gilbert. I don't want to see them slide out the wall. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I would like to thank Dr. Tomko and Mr. Egan for coming. And hope we get some people watching this and become more attuned to the project. I think some answers, some questions were answered, and I think that's important. And hopefully the people will get out to vote, and then they will vote to approve this referendum.
Mayor, may I say something?
Yes.
If everybody in here truly believes what you heard, bottom line is you have to tell your friends and help us, because we can't go out and tell them what to do. But the lady that was just here, she says her friends this and that. You know what? Tell your friends, tell them what you heard tonight, and tell them the reality of the situation. You said your child goes to Gilbert. That 2 of them. That's the worst school. I'm going to tell you one thing. Yesterday when I was at Gilbert, and I don't know, by chance, I happened to go in the classroom where Councilman Coletti's grandson was. I put a...
Is he that old?
Yep. I put a glue stick on his desk. It rolled down the other way. Now, if that's not cause for concern, then I shouldn't be sitting here.
Thank you.
That's all I have to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask for a couple-minute recess so that if anyone wants to leave, we can continue with our meeting. Be rest assured, if you don't want to leave, you're welcome to stay and see what we do. May I have a 5-minute recess?
So moved.
Mr. Boncino, Mr.
On
Coletti.
roll call, council members Coletti.
Here.
Dombrowski. Here. Martino.
Here.
Pettigano.
Here.
Boncino.
Here.
Catamagna. Here. Mayor Mola.
Here.
Mayor, moving on to the approval of minutes, we have the December 12th, 2013 work session, January 1st, 2014 Senate Dime meeting, January 1st, 2014 reorganization meeting, and January 2nd, 2014 regular meeting.
Motion to approve all 4 of them, except the 2 new councilmen that can't vote on the December 12th meeting.
Yes.
Will you call the roll, please?
I need a motion and a second, Mayor.
That's what you need, a motion and a second. Mr. Boncino, Mr. Catamagna. Any discussion? Call the roll.
On roll call, council members Coletti.
Yes.
Dombrowski.
Abstaining on December 12th, yes on the rest.
Martino.
Abstaining December 12th, yes on the rest.
Pettigano.
Yes.
Boncino.
Yes.
Catamagna.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, this evening we have 2 ordinances on first reading. Resolution R3514, introduce ordinance 14-1 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled an ordinance to amend the current building subcode fees for the Borough of Elmwood Park be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, February 6, 2014 at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter, as same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Motion, please.
So move.
Mr. Catamagna, second.
Second.
Mr. Martino.
Mayor, if I-
Ladies and gentlemen, this ordinance contains subcode fees, that's the building department, and we've gotten together with Fairlawn, so we're working with Fairlawn on using a combination of our people and their people. These increases, some are increases for us, and some are decreases, but we kind of average them all out so that both towns are coming up with the same fee schedule. Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Coletti.
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Pettigano?
Yes.
Bonsino?
Yes.
Catamania?
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution R 36-14, introduce ordinance 14-2 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to amend Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park entitled Traffic be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, February 6, 2014, at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter, as same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing is required by law.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Mr. Vancino?
Second.
Mr. Pettigano? Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor. This ordinance reverts our snow parking ordinance to what it was previously. If you recall, over the last 2 years, we've attempted to do an odd-even parking where you would park on the side of the street based on your house number, and we established an 8 to 10 o'clock window where you could move your car. It proved to be a little confusing for residents to manage and figure out where they had to park. So we've decided to move to what we had previously, where we'd have signs on particular streets to say no parking when street is snow covered. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, if I may, you finished, Lou?
No, go ahead,
Yes.
sir.
Just to expand a little on Councilman Vancino's report there. The confusion that's been happening in the last 2 years, it was experimental. We knew from the beginning that this was like basically a feasibility study on whether this was going to work or not. And even our DPW director, he felt that it wasn't working as he might thought it would have. It works in bigger cities, but it doesn't work in a smaller city. And we're just back to simple, where the sign says no parking when snow road is covered. It'll be that simple, and the confusion is all gone. Thank you.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, I would like to just mention that everybody needs to know that the snow ordinance, the ordinance is in effect till 24 hours after the snow stops. Okay, so that you still have to have your car off the street after the snow stops. Even if the plow comes down, the idea is that we need to make sure that the street is empty in case the plow needs to come down again. Nobody likes to see the plow come down and throw the snow back into your driveway or anything else, but in order for the DPW to do an effective job, we need to have, and there's always been the question mark, when does the ordinance end? Does it end when the plow comes down the street? No. The firm answer is it's 24 hours after the storm. And I just encourage all the residents to please follow this. We tried to do the side, the alternate side so that we could try to get both sides, and it didn't work. It confused people. But I got to tell you, if you're parked on the wrong side, if you're parked on the side that you're not supposed to park, the police department will be going out and giving tickets. And the ultimate, if it continues to happen, it'll get towed. So please, adhere to the ordinance. We're doing the best that we can. We try to simplify it, and we hope to have this in place for the next snowstorm. Long time from now.
Easy, Joe.
Thank you. And this will take another reading, which is going to be not this Thursday, the following Thursday, and then this ordinance will go into effect at that point.
Well, it can't stop with
What I would suggest is that you do what the mayor does if you have the opportunity. I park my car on my front lawn. I pull up the driveway, I park it on the front lawn. When it's snowing, the ground is hard, it's not going to hurt your grass. And then as soon as you have the opportunity, you just back off, and the front of your house is perfectly clean. It works. Okay? It also allows you not to shovel all that. Since your car is off, the plow will come by and do it. As for what Councilman Dombrowski said, we've had this ordinance in effect a few years ago, 2 years ago, and tickets, they gave out sometimes 300 to 400 tickets. So tickets are given out, and I hope you would go back and follow this. We've had this ordinance for about 10 to 20 years now, and there are still people who either can't read or don't care and want to pay the fine. So get the cars off the streets if you can, so that we can clear the streets as quickly as we can. Oh, and one other thing. Please understand that our DPW has a limited amount of employees. And after they work their 8-hour shift or 12-hour shift, whatever they have, we have to send them home. So they can't plow 24 hours and get everything done. So we have to be concerned about our employees, that they have proper sleep and they can get it done. Because quite frankly, as long as I've been around, it tends to vote at night, and they're working overtime, plus they've worked the whole day prior to that. So please understand what our employees go through and help us out by removing the cars. Thank you.
Mayor, also, people should know that don't throw back the snow on the street once
good.
it's clean. Try the best you can to put it on the side, on your sidewalk. I saw people throw snow right back on the street again. You know, then they waste of time, it wastes a lot of money. So please, you know, everyone, don't throw snow on the street.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Call roll, please.
just for clarification, the final hearing, the public hearing and final adoption of this ordinance will actually be in 3 weeks. There's
Oh, that's right.
There's a fifth Thursday in the month of January, so final adoption and public hearing will be scheduled for February 6th.
So all of you go home, a little prayer, we get no snow until that happens.
On
Call
roll
roll.
call, Councilmembers Coletti,
Yes.
Dombrowski,
Yes.
Martino,
Yes.
Petagano.
Yes.
Bonsino.
Yes.
Catamania.
Yes,
Motion carries. Mayor, this evening, under the consent agenda, we have Resolution 37-14, payment of bills, Resolution 38-14, confirmation of escrow checks, Resolution 39-14, confirmation of payroll, Resolution 40-14, authorized purchase of two 2013 Ford Focus built for the Building Department, Resolution 41-14, resolution to refund overpayments due to tax court appeal, Block 1113, Lot 38, RF 42-14, resolution to refund overpayments due to tax court, Block 1015, Lot 5, Resolution 43-14, authorized execution of the risk management consulting agreement for calendar year 2014, Resolution 44-14, agreement for the municipal auditor, Lurch, Vinci, and Higgins LLP for 2014, Resolution 45-14, resolution supporting gym use by borough employees free of charge, Resolution 46-14, resolution for departmental promotions within the Department of Public Works, Resolution 47-14, resolution to refund overpayment due to tax court appeal, Block 607, Lot 2. Resolution 48-14, agreement for the Borough Attorney Giuseppe Randazzo Esquire for calendar year 2014. Resolution 49-14, appoint Commissioner to the South Bergen Municipal Joint Insurance Fund. And Resolution 50-14, agreement for the Municipal Auditor 2013, Lurch, Vinci, and Higgins.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Boncino, second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Coletti. Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor, if I may, can we please pull out R-40-14 for a separate discussion, please?
May I have a second to his motion, please?
Mayor, can we ask that Bonsino and Coletti amend their motion to exclude R 4014 from the consent agenda?
Yes, you can ask that.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so ordered.
Okay.
Regarding the purchase of these two new vehicles, Ford Focuses,
Councilman, if I may, can we conclude the vote on the consent agenda and then vote on that as a separate matter?
yeah, I
Sure.
think that'd be a good idea.
Okay.
Call a roll, please.
On roll call on the consent agenda, with the exclusion of R 40-14, Councilmembers Coletti,
Yes.
Dombrowski,
Yes.
Martino,
Yes.
Petagano,
Yes.
Bonsino,
Yes.
Catamania.
yes.
Motion carries. Now, Mayor, if you want to consider Resolution 40-14.
May I have a motion on that?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Coletti, second.
Second.
Mr. Boncino, all in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor, if I may, regarding the purchase of those two vehicles, I've made some notes here. Our past practice has been to take police cars when they reach their sunset and give them to our departments for further use. Now we want to set a precedent here and disregard that practice and create a new line item cost to the borough's budget. We polled our relevant department heads who unanimously said that the handed-down vehicles were not worth maintaining at a cost of $2,500 per year when you can purchase two new vehicles for $30,000. By dividing the $2,500 per year maintenance cost into the cost of the new vehicles of $30,000, we can virtually go 12 years of maintaining those vehicles before we will spend that $30,000. Now, these aren't vehicles that are considered emergency vehicles any longer, with demands on them to respond, like a police car, an ambulance, snow plows, and fire trucks. These are 2 cars that are going to be used for our town inspections, going from one part of the town to the other. This, gentlemen, is an area where we can be frugal. We don't have the opportunity all the time, but we can be frugal here and save some of the taxpayers' money by not purchasing these vehicles. Mayor?
Thank you. Any other comments? I agree with Mr. Coletti, but I'll call the roll. Keith, call the roll.
We have a motion on the table for Resolution 40-14. Motion by Coletti, seconded by Bonsino. On roll call, council members Coletti.
This is for the acceptance, correct?
This is to purchase the 2 vehicles.
No.
Dombrowski,
Yes.
Martino,
Yes.
Pettigano,
Yes.
Bonsino,
Yes.
Catamagna.
Yes.
Motion carries.
My comment is I agree with Mr. Coletti because we've had this idea of using older vehicles for the last 15 to 20 years, and it was a good way of saving money for us. Go ahead, Mr. Casmark.
Mayor, moving on to the departmental reports, we have the Department of Public Works report for December, library minutes for November 25th, 2013, municipal court report for November, building department report for November, and the building department inspection report from November 1st, 2013 through December 31st.
Motion receive and file.
So moved.
Mr. John Borowski, Mr. Catamagna, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? So ordered. Council reports, we'll start on the left. Mr. Martino?
The Home Association, a $500 donation was made by Linda to the Senior Center to help with their programs on the 15th of this month. On the 21st of this month, Mr. Egan is actually going to be speaking at the homeowners meeting at 7 o'clock at the memorial at the high school auditorium on River Drive. He's going to speak about exactly what he spoke to tonight, so try to get a bigger audience there. Also on the 24th, they're having their Mount Airy bus trip that leads the Recreation Center at 10 o'clock in the morning. The election, for who does not know, it's the 28th from 2 o'clock to 9 o'clock p.m. And that's what I have for the Homeowners Association.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Pettigano?
Thank you, Mayor. As far as the rec, the basketball clinic is doing very well. We still need more children. They have 50 registered right now. I know it's, people won't see this for a few days, but if you know anybody interested, please let them know. Also, the indoor soccer is doing very well. There are 73 children registered for this first-time event. That is fantastic. Also, the soccer club. Registration will begin for spring club soccer. I don't know if that's this week or, well, it's coming up soon. You can call the rec department and find out from Donna Pugliese. Street hockey, the program is running very smoothly. 72 children are registered. That's doing very well also. And winter break camp has been completed, and the children were overjoyed by this. It was just a tremendous thing for all of them to have somewhere to go, to be busy, and keep them out of trouble. The senior citizen kitchen will tentatively begin the end of this month. We'll see how that project goes. And summer camp, we're talking about summer camp again over the next couple months. It's time already. We will begin preparing for this camp and registering children very soon. And also at the end of the month, on January 27th, there will be there's a series of personal growth talks that will be done at the rec center. These are called Strategies to Make New Year's Resolutions Stick. This is helping people to create resolutions, develop a plan of action, and implement healthy lifestyles. The past presentations have been very informative, and I'd encourage anybody who thinks they need this to please go. And that is, basketball, we have 30 teams in this program. It's running smoothly, and Donna Pugliese wants to thank the AD at the high school, Jill Torrento, for all her help in using the school facilities. And that's about it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Coletti?
Yes, Mayor, regarding our fire department, kind of quiet month. Thank God for that. Couple of extrications that went well. However, there was an explosion on Route 46 next to a tree, and who did it and why, that's still under investigation. They're going to have their annual Fireman's Beefsteak, where they honor their new officers, and that will be on January 25th, Saturday night, at the VFW in Elmwood Park. And just a request from our fire department, if your property has a fire hydrant, please keep a 3-foot clear perimeter of snow around it for access for our fire department. It could be your family or your neighbor's life you're saving. Mayor?
That's the 25th?
That's correct.
Okay. What time?
I'll get the time.
7 p.m.
Mr. Boncino? 7?
7 p.m.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I have one item from our police department. Last week, and you may have read this in community news this week, last week, one of our residents, they experienced, unfortunately, a diversion break-in where 2 males claiming to be from the water company and were required to check pipes in the house because of the cold weather, were granted access into the house. And while they were in the house, diverted the homeowners and ransacked and stole personal property from the homeowners. Our note from the police department really is typically utility companies like PSE&G, water, you'll have an appointment or they'll have clear identification and uniforms. A rule of thumb would be if you didn't invite somebody over, don't let them into your house. And if you have any doubt, call the police department. If there's an individual outside, call the police. They'll be happy to come over and investigate and check it out before you grant them access. The people last week had IDs. They looked legit. They weren't legit. So a good rule of thumb to go by is if you didn't invite them, don't let them into your house. That's from our chief. And then our ambulance corps is going to be celebrating their 50th anniversary at their installation dinner dance, and that'll be on February 7th. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Dombrowski?
Yes, I'd just like to remind everybody what was said by Mr. Egan. I support it. I think many of my colleagues here also support it. Ladies and gentlemen, if it doesn't pass, there's a chance that we're going to pay more if the state comes back and says we have to pay. So please do the due diligence, go out there, vote, and let's do the right thing for the children. I'd also like to congratulate a young man, Vishon Polite. He's one of our seniors in Elmwood Park Memorial High School. He was the Athlete of the Week this week in the Bergen Record. He scored an amazing 144 points in 4 games. Great job by this young man, and I understand our basketball team is doing very well. So I'd like to give Mr. Polite his congratulations on that. Coming from the health department, I'd like to remind everybody who owns a cat and a dog, or both, that the borough will be conducting their license drive right now. So you must license your dogs and your cats. You can obtain a application by coming down to the Board of Health Department or to the Health Department, or by calling 201-796-1457, extension 604. I'd also like to remind everybody this year there will be animal control officer that will be conducting door-to-door to check to see if people actually have cats and dogs. Some people don't like to admit that they have them, so we will have an officer going around door-to-door this year, which we haven't had in quite a long time. And then also tonight we did pass a resolution that opens up shared services with Garfield. for free immunization for children, and it's open up to all Elmwood Park children. They could go to Garfield during the hours and get free immunization. They could get, also, I believe they get to get the flu shots. And also, they'll be offering free family health screening. So even adults will benefit from this. And then finally, I just want to say that last night I went to the Bergen County Freeholders meeting to just discuss the Artesian Field situation and see where they're at. Not much happened, just opened up a dialogue, can't promise anything. It's been many years that nothing's happened there, but I just want to let everybody know that, we're not forgetting about it, and we're going to keep moving forward with it. And that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Caravagna?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. January 11th, Councilman Joe Dombrowski, Steve Martino, and I went to the orientation meeting sponsored by the League of Municipalities. And I tell you, we learned a lot, and there's a lot more to be learned. It was very good orientation. I've been there already a few times. Every time I go, there's something to learn. The second thing I have here, last night at the planning board meeting, the board approved 2 applications. One was renovation of the Italian tile building on Market Street. And then also there was another application, an office, Route 46, it's a financial consulting office. Everything went smooth, everything was nice, I'm very happy. Let's continue. Let's encourage business to come to town. A good rateable. Mayor, I have nothing else. Just I want to say hello to everybody here. The president of the Board of Education, Luis Gerardi, and then the vice president, Mr. Canizzo, and we don't forget Danny Golopak. Thank you for being here tonight. Very good. All right, guys, good night. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. At this time, I have a motion to open the meeting to the public.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Coletti, second by Mr. Boncino. Any discussion? All in favor? Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to speak, please come to the microphone to give us your name and address.
Phone number.
No phone numbers.
Jeffrey Freitag, 35 Hillman Drive. I was reviewing the temporary parking prohibition for snowplowing, the new ordinance. Now, as I recall, sitting in on a work meeting, that was going to revert back to the most recent one prior to the parking where it goes back and forth. Now, in particular, there are many streets on here that I know that are now both sides, because it says both sides. There's not going to be any parking. And I guess in the second reading, I guess these things have to be corrected because it appears there's many errors. I know in particular just a few streets I looked at. My street, I don't care, I wish it stayed both sides, but originally it was parking permitted on the north side of Hillman Drive, and it says both sides. There's other streets, Washington Avenue, I believe it says both sides. I believe it wasn't that way. There's just streets that I'm familiar with, but I think and I think it was the intention to go back to what existed prior to the most recent one. So I think it needs to be reviewed.
We'll have Mr. Kazmark review that, and even before it's published, maybe we can...
Through you, Mayor, and Mr. Randazzo can correct me if I'm wrong, because we've been going back and forth with emails on this, but this is consistent with what was written in the ordinance book prior to the alternate side, odd and even ordinance that was adopted. Now, whether or not that was what was set up in practice out on the existing roadways, that I can't attest to for every street. But this was how it was written prior to, based on the way the ordinance book reads.
Now, another thing, I know that this is something that, a prudent thing, now there's going to have to be new signs printed up.
No, we're using the old one.
There's not an old one because my side of the street was permitted to be parked on, which would be the north side of Hillman Drive. And if the sign is removed over the other one, I would assume that's what it's going to say, no parking on one side and parking on that side. So then new signs would have to be put up. If it's not going to be effective for 3 more weeks, which today is, we're talking is it really worth maybe a prudent step might be to kind of delay this to get it straight? Because if we're gonna get new signs printed, which may be wrong and put up, and I know you said they were going back and forth, but I lived there and I remember what it was, and some of the other streets likewise. And it does appear to be, it didn't match what was originally posted. So, I mean, if you walk right up and down the street, if the other sign is remaining beneath the new ones, there was an expense involved in putting up the old ones, and now there's going to be an additional expense to put up a sign that maybe people are going to come in here in 3 weeks and say, that's not the way it was originally, and local law may say something, that's not what the sign said. So,
Through you, Mayor, what I would recommend to the council is, this ordinance, as it's been presented to you tonight, has been reviewed by both Chief Johnson and Scott Clark, our DPW superintendent. I will be happy to bring back Mr. Freitag's concerns to both of them. Obviously, they're familiar with exactly where the signs are posted as they exist today. The intention, as of the work session, was that it would take probably somewhere between 3 and 5 days to remove all of the pink temporary signs, for lack of a better description, and that the previous signs which govern this ordinance would still be there. That's what was covered up in most cases. But we will definitely review it and see that it is consistent. And obviously, at this point, if this ordinance was to be adopted on February 6th, at that point, every street in the town would need to be made consistent with the ordinance that the council adopted.
right, but I'm just saying there obviously will be cost, DPW time, everything that's going to go forth. And I think the prudent thing might be, if it's not 3 weeks from now anyway, we're almost into the end of winter then. We'll be, maybe, I know we'll have a snowstorm on the 22nd day or something like that, but a lot of those signs also blow up very easily.
Jeff, are you predicting this now? Are you predicting a snowstorm on the 20-something?
No, I'm just saying, those things normally happen, whatever, Letty's law, maybe Mola's law, I don't know. Anyway, just as a thing, I think realistically, I think that it does need to be reviewed as to what actually, the way the signs were. And I think if you pull one off, you might see that, and somewhere.
Well, excuse me, that's what's going to happen. The signs, the paper signs, are on top of the original sign.
Right.
So all we're doing is taking the paper sign off, and that sign will be, no parking on this side when street is snow covered.
Through the mayor to Mr. Kazmark. Mr. Kazmark said he spoke to Mr. Randazzo, and they aligned it with the statute as it existed, and it said in particular on Hillman Drive that you can't park on either side, and in reality, that's not what it was.
Right.
So the sign may indicate that, so then I would say either you have to change the ordinance or live by the ordinance and remove the sign. So there appears to be some work that has to be done, and that, as I was saying, it's not going to happen until 3 weeks from now, where there's going to be a revision. There's a cost involved with all those things. There's things with everything. And by then, we're already toward the end of winter. So it might be a good thing to look into, maybe at a later date, or just, I think it needs to be revisited one way or the other. You gentlemen will make the decision. And ultimately, though, I think that there may be not errors with the ordinance, because the ordinance is as it stands, but with what actually existed.
Thank you. Anyone else who wish to be heard?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Daniel Goldbeck, 4 Godwin Ave. I want to thank Councilman Martino, because as far as I'm concerned, and I may be wrong, I think you were the first one to mention tonight when the actual election is. Somehow, in the midst of explaining everything, that actually wasn't announced. So you're right, January 28th, 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. And just from an election standpoint, to stress to the people watching, 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. So it's not a general election like we're used to, going before work, 6, 7 o'clock. There won't be anybody there. Also open later till 9. I know there's always that rush, and there's always people that are pounding at the door at 8:02 to go vote. You have from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. at your usual polling place. So please make that work. So thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Glad we got that out there. If that didn't get out there tonight, then that would have been
It never will.
Disaster. But my other question, Mayor, I've been bringing this up with Wi-Fi in the library. Is there any progress on that?
Yeah, we were at the library board meeting the other day, and they were getting Wi-Fi on their own cell phones, on their own equipment, there from the people around them. But call up the librarian, Mrs. Bobby, Bobby, and she'll fill you in, yes.
Well, I understand you serve on the library board, because with phones, I mean, you can have internet access different ways. It's not necessarily Wi-Fi, and I doubt it would be catching from the homes at the distance. It just wouldn't work.
They were catching it from the home. Right at the meeting they did it. But I'll get back to you, and yeah, we're not opposed to it.
No, I mean, this is, frankly, I mean, that part of the library is stuck in the 20th century. I don't know of a library nowadays that just doesn't have something so simple, so I'm going to keep bringing it up.
Do me a favor, go there and try it,
Okay,
okay?
all right.
And see if it works.
I'll try it.
Okay, because we did do that. We did do that. Anyone else who wishes to be heard? Usually we only have one per family, but since the wife is here, we'll have two per family.
This is important.
Okay.
Thank you for allowing the Board of Education to present the information tonight. I would just like to remind everyone that if they need more detail, it is on the school's website. It gives particular numbers and how many windows, how many bathrooms, the dollar amounts. So it might be good for people to take a look at that if they need more detail.
Good.
Please, people who are listening, know how serious this is. Please vote January 28th, as Dan just said, 2 to 9 p.m. Thank you.
Mrs. Freitag, can you just give out the web address, please? So,
Good question.
Elmwood, I just look Elmwood Park Schools, and then it comes up.
www.elmwoodparkschools.org.
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Anyone else who wishes to be heard?
How you doing? Robert Colon, 51 Parkview Avenue, Elmwood Park.
I have to interrupt you and tell you that you're a good-looking guy, but your daughter took the picture, and all I looked at was her.
That's my granddaughter.
Granddaughter, I'm sorry.
Another compliment.
Yeah. 2 in a row.
Is he fishing or something?
I'm the former president of the Elmwood Park Chamber of Commerce. We switch presidents every year. This year, Stephen Conti will be the president. And I want to thank Mr. Caramagna for saying, you know, we're looking to bring on more businesses in Elmwood Park. We're looking to increase our membership on the Chamber of Commerce. We have over 70 members now. We've done a lot of good things for the town. We've tried to promote the town. We've tried to help the town. And we're looking to get more companies to come out, join, and help promote Elmwood Park and make it a better place.
Thank you.
I've been here 52 years, and I live this town, so, you know, as much as we can, we got to grow the business here. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else who wishes to be heard?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Will Manilli, 221 Washington Ave. I was watching the meeting from 2 weeks ago, and I just wanted to touch on something.
You have 5 minutes. We'll recess and you can come back, but I'll give you the no sign.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll try and make it quick. I was watching it, and I know that there's been a shift in the majority. There's going to be some new appointments made. Whether or not everybody agrees with the appointments, maybe not, maybe yes. But there's one in particular that I just don't understand. So, maybe somebody can explain it to me. And that would be to not reappoint the prosecutor Di Maria, who was originally, I believe, appointed by Councilman Caramagna. You guys voted no, but you voted yes to a 2% raise last year. It's my understanding that the police department has a very good relationship with him. They feel comfortable going into court with him. They feel like he represents them well. There's been a decent amount of money that's been made in the courts. I believe the judge also is in favor of him. The county has nothing but high ratings and praise for him. And I really think that you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody with equal credentials, never mind higher. So if anybody can explain to me, what the rationale behind that was, other than time for a change, or, you know, we have the majority now.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your last name.
Manili.
Mr. Manili, how are you? I'd like to, I'll address that for you. I just want you to know that the council has done their due diligence and vetted all the individuals and the positions and the appointments. Again, I will assure you that the person that we are choosing for that position will be just as good, if not better, than Mr. DiMaria. I understand that he's, you know, hasn't done anything wrong or anything else like that, but the person that we have chosen, we believe would be just as good.
And who is that person, let me ask?
You'll find out on February 6th when it becomes official. I don't know.
So I guess what you're saying then is, and I don't mean to, you know, beat it up, but if the guy is doing a great job and the police department who works with him every day feels comfortable with this guy, you still want to take a chance with somebody else because you think that he may do a better job?
It's... Am I allowed to say? Or should we wait for February 2nd?
The RFQs are, was there a request for RFQs from us? Those are public, right?
Okay. The salary, through you, Mayor, to Mr. Randazzo, the salary of the prosecutor falls below the $17,500 requirement for an RFP or RFQ.
So?
You can say who you consider.
We're considering Beth Crucius. Beth has filled in for Mark many a times and has done a very good job, and is also has a rapport with the people downstairs. So,
Well, just to clarify, she was the alternate delegate picked by DiMaria, was she not?
I don't know that. I don't know that for
so.
sure.
I mean, you know, so you're taking an alternate and replacing the, I mean that's fine. I just, you know, I don't understand it.
She comes with very high credentials.
Not higher than DiMaria though.
Okay. We have to change.
Just got to change the tape.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to have a short recess till we change the tape, and then we'll come back. If you want to stay, you can. If you have any other comments, or you want to continue?
I just have one last final thought. You know, I hope you know, at least consider him. I know the final appointment has not been made, and you know, as a resident, I hope that the appointments are not just from a political party standpoint and in the best interest of the town. And you know, I mean, I really haven't heard anything that discredits him, or you know, or that would make her a better candidate. But you know, I guess time will tell. You know? So, thank you.
If I can comment on that, I would hope they would reconsider. As you indicated, Mr. DiMaria was appointed by a Democrat majority 5-6 years ago, and every year the prosecutors reappointed. And I've been reappointing or submitting his name every year. I do not feel if we can get away from any political aspect of the violations department, we should. It's the judge's department, really, and if he or the people downstairs feel that it's going good, he's been there when we've raised over $1 million in fines, etc. I do know that I submitted the young lady's name, and she was approved by this council. And I understand that he requested her to be there, so she's not inexperienced. But he's been in 4 different towns as prosecutor, and I wonder where we're going. We're going to take the person who hired her to be assistant, alternate prosecutor, and now we're taking her and firing him. A foolish mistake on his part, I think, when they look at it and say, my God, I appointed her or requested her, and now she's taking my job. And I don't know why. So I wish they would look at it more carefully, and I don't have anything negative to say about it. They requested it downstairs, and I appointed her, or I submitted her name. But I think he's having second thoughts about asking for certain people.
Rich Chowinski, 42 Walnut Street. The library, the nemesis comes up again, but just to mention, I've never seen Wi-Fi in that library. I've been there over the past few months too. not only for the Wi-Fi, but to look at the paving job that was done late December in 30-degree weather, guys. Take a look at the lot. Anybody go and drive through it at the library? $9,000 of the taxpayers' money, when the library has $1.2 million in reserve funds of the taxpayers. I mean, I've spoken to you about this, and I strongly disagree with it. On to other things.
Mr. Chewinski,
Yes,
the Wi-Fi isn't in there. The people who were at the meeting were using their
They can use their phones, man, but that's not Wi-Fi.
no, but they were getting it.
They're not getting it there. They're not getting Wi-Fi.
Okay.
All right. On another note, I commend Councilman Dombrowski and also Board of Education member Danny Gomez for going to the county meeting last night to bring up the county park again. Many years ago, the mayor, I myself, and a bunch of councilmen did go down and we complained about the park. And through complaining, that's many, many meetings with the county, Tom Conboy came up with a great idea and asked them to give it to us. And they said, it's a great idea, we'll give it to you for $1. You take care of it. Well, we started to look into what we were going to do besides the walking path. And there are ideas floating around to take the piece from Spidell to the boulevard and turn it into parks for our kids, being that it's close to the high school, and also for our rec program. Well, needless to say, we had some negative on that. We had the deed made. Mr. Giblin had it in his hands. We got word that somebody said, I don't know who it was, you couldn't cut the trees. I called Green Acres, yes, you can cut the trees. You can't build on top, there's well fields. Called and had a meeting with Garfield Wells. Kevin Boswell represents. And yes, you can build on the well fields, just gotta watch what you do. And it got so far as, just before I got off the council, that it was close to being approved, but then the last I heard, they weren't gonna do it. For what reason whatsoever, I don't know, but it would behoove this council to go down as a group and citizens with you. And I think the timing is right. You could grab that part, because if you look at the walking path and the $400,000 they're gonna spend there, there's no promise of any trees being cut. They're just gonna throw mulch down, and it's gonna be dumped in our lap, guys. But the upper piece has no wetlands, and only one pump station that has to have about a 50-foot diameter to move it. So if you plan your fields around that, you can do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who wishes to be heard?
Mike Buford, 14 Phillip Ave. I'd just like to bring up some concerns of public safety. Everybody on the council knows where I live. Phillip Ave is one of the raceways in Elmwood Park. People come out from behind Markel. Phillip Ave is the first one that goes across town. People shoot up my street 35, 40, 45 miles an hour, no problem. In the last year and a half, my vehicle has been sideswiped in front of my house, hit and run 3 times, costing me approximately $3,000 because each hit has been just under my deductible. And I have noticed, coincidentally, in the last year and a half, the 3 times my car's been hit has been since the new owners took over the Elmwood Bond and became the Twisted Elm. Now, many venues I go to where they serve alcohol, they are held to have compliance officers on the premises to monitor alcohol consumption, to make sure nobody's leaving the place drunk and nobody's drinking too much. Would it be in the interest of this council to toy with the idea of an ordinance that every establishment in Elmwood Park that serves alcohol comply with a compliance officer?
It's something that can be brought up.
Okay, because, you know, between that, public service putting these dim lights up, also Twisted Elm, you can check with Ms. Ricci. I have called her numerous times. They have a wood-burning stove, never a problem when it was the Elmwood Bond. Obviously, they don't know how to use a wood-burning stove. My dog goes out in the backyard, he comes back in smelling like he was in a fire. The police were at my house last week asking if we had anything burning in the backyard because people on Miller Ave were complaining about smoke. Numerous times. They either don't know how to use it, using the wrong wood, using wet wood. Yeah. I'm in that house 27 years. Never had a problem with the previous owners. It's the last year and a half since the new owners took over, I'm noticing a lot of problems in my neighborhood. So maybe the council can kick it around a little. A compliance officer doesn't have to come out of the borough's expense. The owners of those establishments have to have that as an employee or pay for that separately. We should do that before something tragic happens, somebody crossing a street and gets hit by a car and killed. I think that would be a wise thing to do.
Thank you.
Continuing on public safety, Mr. Vancino mentioned the burglary on Beach Street, and that affected me personally. As most of you know, it was my family. The perps exited and headed towards Market Street. I canvassed Market Street. Market Street is the town's business district. There's not a single camera along Market Street. I'm sure business owners that have businesses on Market Street would love the idea of having cameras in a business area. Had we had cameras there, we would know who did this. We would easily catch them. But most other towns, I'm not going to say all, but a lot of other towns, in their business areas, you see cameras on the poles. Cameras won't cost too much. It can come out of the tickets that are put on cars that park on snow-covered streets. We can always vary that. Maybe, even like I said, with the issue on my street, maybe the police department could step up DWI checks around drinking establishments. Or maybe you want to put one of those speed check signs, you can park it right in front of my house, I don't care, I'll move my car into my neighbor's driveway.
We'll do that.
All right? It's anything to deter it, I mean, because it's been an ongoing issue. And I'd just like to address one gentleman, if I could, in the audience, the gentleman in the white shirt. I know he talked about the budget, and people might come out if they know the money was being spent where it was going. I second the emotion there, because I know you have two former board trustees here, one
Mr.
current trustee
Bufus,
that have been there a while.
Mr. Bufus, you can address us
Okay.
and he can hear it.
I have complained about issues in the buildings for a long time. I complained about wiring issues in the auditorium for 8 years. Only now are they going to repair the lights. However, over the summer, they put new seats in, so at least you're sitting in nice new seats if the place burnt into flames on a short circuit. So hopefully, if it passes, it will get spent the way people are hoping it'll be spent.
Good.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Jessica Brazier, 241 Market Street. My interest as a business owner is, I've been speaking with a lot of business owners in the last couple of months about the hoops of fire you have to jump through to get a CO. Whether it's, now if it's a continuing CO, that apparently has been resolved. If you're buying a deli and you're moving in as a deli, you should be able to get a CO. But it seems like a lot of businesses are renting like properties for similar businesses, but having to go through all kinds of expenses to come into a property that they're trying to rent. And before I heard you saying, we'd like to attract businesses. You can't attract the businesses if you're going to cause them extreme expenses. And I've heard some stories about extreme expenses and months of delays trying to get a CO.
Let me stop you if I may.
Absolutely.
The building department will review any application if it's what you're talking about, and they can issue a permit. That ordinance was passed, I think, 2 years ago. When you say extreme delays,
Months.
no. No, name a company that's been coming months to the planning. Planning board resolves their issues within 1 month or 2 months if there's anything that's missing.
2 months is months, Mayor.
What? If they come in and they don't have the proper information for the planning board, it may be delayed a second month. They come in with the proper information, and it's a little store. Mr. Caramagna sat in the other day at that meeting. He's on the planning board now. They came in, they got it immediately, same time.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you're helping some of them, but there are many business owners here, and when we come to the Chamber of Commerce meetings, we often hear from someone who says, I had to jump through hoops of fire, it took me 3-4 months.
No.
When the bakery came in.
No.
Palms Bakery. Excuse me.
Categorically, no. It doesn't take 3-4 months unless they come in and they give the information to the planning board attorney or the zoning board attorney, and they have everything on the information. It'll be heard that they have to, by law, they have to put it on. They have 10 days. It can go up to 10 days, and then they can put it on. And if they don't want to come to the work session, they can appear right at the public session. In fact, both of them are public, but one is only work.
So what you're saying is the planning board is trying to help the businesses move in as quickly as possible?
Absolutely.
As business owners here, have we all heard stories?
As, when I was president of the Chamber of Commerce, yes, and we came and we talked about the continuing CEOs and all that. But yes, there are companies that, or businesses that are trying to start, and when they come to us, do I know exactly what they presented and what, I'm not saying that, I'm saying what Jessica's talking about is, yes, they're coming to us and they're saying, wow, tried to open up a business over here and it took me months. I had to go through expenses of lawyers, I had to go through expenses of bringing people in. So that's what I believe Jessica's talking about, and it is people coming and telling us these concerns.
They go to the building department, and the building department directs them to the planning board and tells them what they have to bring in, and then you have the secretary of the planning board tells them exactly what's needed. I've been sitting on that board for many years. The only thing that may go months is if you have somebody like Mark Howe coming in, it's a great big thing, or the apartments down here on River Drive. Otherwise, they're heard the same, I don't know, maybe they're asking for things they can't have.
Mayor, can I say something?
Possibly be it, but maybe there's a, for our use, maybe something that you can give us so that when somebody does come to us, we can say, hey, listen, you have to go to.
Yeah, we can have the building department give that to you.
Sure, and this way at least we can give that to them and say, look, if you're having trouble.
Absolutely.
And one of the things we're doing as a chamber is saying, if you're having these kind of things, come to us, let us talk, let us see what it is so that some of us that have been involved in the town and stuff can come and see the right people and maybe help them, direct them in the right direction.
Okay.
I'd like to say something, Mayor. Can I? Anyhow, first of all, we give credit to Mr. Trominski here, but he worked hard to get a continuing CO. Because when I was going to rent my office, this prior, the you passed this ordinance, whatever, took me almost 4 months to rent my office. Okay, Mayor? Now, it's been corrected. I was able to rent my garage as continuous CO with no problem at all. Okay, building inspector came, we had to go to different topics, to Garfield, because of the conflict of interest. There was no problem. Now, that problem has been corrected. If you want to open up a bakery where there was a bakery, I don't think there's a problem anymore. So last night, I went to the meeting, it was very easy. Yeah, everything was approved. I think things may be changing a little bit, and I hope they will. Because we want to be business friendly in this town. The rateable, that's where they pay tax business. Buildings pay tax. If they have no children, they're sent to school. So we have to welcome the business in this town. I don't say to do illegal work, no. It has to be legit. It has to go through the planning board, but they must expedite. I attended the meeting last night, yes. Most of the questions were very good questions. Some of them were ridiculous. They could do without. And thank God that passed was very easy. It was easy last night, and I was very happy to see that. Really, we should encourage business. The planning board should be work faster, and if they need something, they should tell everything at once. You gotta come in next time, you must have this, 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 and this. And I remember in the past, we come in with all those things, and they say, oh, but you need something else. And they keep waiting months and months and months. You're right, you are right. I think things have been much better since. Thank you, Mr. Trominski. You did something good for them.
I have a question. I'm a little confused. Are you referring to larger areas when companies come in that exceed our current ordinance now, of 10, I believe it's 10 or 15,000 square feet? Or, because I thought we'd resolve the smaller cases when they're in kind,
Well, the
current...
continuing CO, from what we understand from our meetings, that has been resolved. So if someone is buying the bakery and bringing in a bakery, that should be a SWIFT. But if someone is, if the bakery, let's say, closes tomorrow, and the owner wants to rent out the property, and someone comes in with a different business, whether it's similar to food or not, once it's not the exact same kind of business, they seem to get delays. We have a company owned, it's a generator company owned by Matt Wolo. He went into a manufacturing facility. He wasn't manufacturing, because he wasn't doing the exact same thing as what had been in the building prior. He had to go through all kinds, but he was not manufacturing, he was just distributing manufactured goods. He had a lot of issues that he had to deal with because of this. So these are the kinds of things that we are just questioning. But and I'm hoping that as we address this, that it comes to the planning board to say, what can we do? What can we present to the Chamber of Commerce so that they can help these businesses? And our other question is, when we had a meeting the other night, now that Tom Conboy is no longer on your council and he is not our liaison, we'd like to know who you've been talking about having as a liaison to the Chamber.
It hasn't come up.
Well,
One person at a time, please. Yeah, let me just go back with the planning board. They're recommended to the planning board by the building department. So the planning board doesn't say, we want to hear this when they're recommended, if there's a change of use, it has to come to the planning
So it
board.
really starts with the building
Yes.
inspector more so than the planning board?
Yes.
If I may make a recommendation, obviously, with a lot of chamber members here, you should jot your concerns down and formally give it to the council. This way, we're aware of what seems to be a problem for the business area.
Yes, it is. It seems to be. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been in my same spot since 1997, so I really, but, to get in there, I had to do a lot of hoops of fire. But, I haven't had an issue, but should I ever decide that I want to move my business, I want to make sure that if I'm taking my flower shop across the street for some reason, that it's not going to be a crazy thing for me to have to do.
If you're instructed to come to the planning board, you have to come to the planning board.
Okay, so it all starts with the building
Yes.
inspector's office. Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Cullen?
You're up.
Frank, I really appreciate that compliment. That ordinance took 7 months, that continued CO ordinance. Just to enlighten you a little bit about that. Yes, the building inspector has the authority under that ordinance to send certain people to the planning board if he feels it's not within the use limits that are in the ordinance. However, that ordinance he has to follow can be tweaked even better. I have some ideas to tweak it. As I left the council, I mentioned with the 15,000 square feet of building. Take Joe Langen's building where he rents an office space every time in a 100,000 square foot building. Because he's 100,000 square foot, he has to go to the planning board every time he rents his office, even if it's 1,000 square foot, which is absolutely wrong. The building was designed for 100,000 square feet, and parking spaces were required for those. But these are little things that can be tweaked. And most of my entire life, not only as an engineer, but I spent in land use law. My brother was rated one of the top 25 in the state. And we've been up and down the state with land use. I know the process, the places we can tweak it. And I know you have Mike Corker coming in, Corker and Corker, to reevaluate some of Market Street, but it should be the whole of Market Street. Come up with a 15-year plan like most towns are doing to revitalize this neighborhood. And I'd be happy to give you my input if you invite me there. Thank you.
Anyone else who wishes to be heard? Anyone new who wishes to be heard?
Good evening, everybody. Pete Rogan, I know Avenue. Big question that's come to mind is, this whole revamping renovation of Market Street, putting in these, redoing the roads and parking and all that. Do we have any anything in process for water drainage? Because majority of the street doesn't have any drains and storm drains. And primarily, I would say a concern that I've seen on the corner of Lucas Beach Street and Market Street is that dead end. Water pools up there time and time over again. Am I correct?
Yep.
And it's one of the properties that I also maintenance, through the winter, and I can see that no matter what we do there, and cleaning it up, opening up the passageways for the handicap, whether it's me or DPW, it's constantly building up there. It's like a non-stop ice skating rink. And apparently there is no drains on that side of the road until you reach, I believe, the corner of St. Leo's there.
St. Leo's,
at the stop sign, which majority of the time.
Corner of St. Leo's and where?
I don't know what the street is.
It's the back entrance.
Conti's Road, back entrance.
It's almost, yeah.
Okay.
So that's just one of the concerns that, you know, we're gonna be spending all this money. I think we should just try to do the best thing possible, make it right, versus tearing it all up again.
Good point.
And we're wasting our taxpayers' money as well as, you know, time and frustration.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Anyone else? Wait a minute, let's get anybody who hasn't spoken yet. Yeah, you're there, Mike.
10 seconds. I forgot to mention something before that irked me. After the board gave their presentation, Mr. Martino said how much it would break down. It would come out to 20 cents a day. And what irked me and appalls me is that you said, if anybody can't afford that, get out, move out.
No, I did not say
Yes,
that.
you did. It's on tape. You're an elected official. You're supposed to be here to benefit the people of Elmer Park and protect them.
I said.
People like me, there's a lot of people like me who are unemployed in this town. 20 cents a day is a lot to us right now, okay? But you said, yeah, you can't put a price on your children. You said that after you said, if you can't afford it, you should get out, move. Review the tape, you'll hear it. And I'm appalled that you said that sitting there as a public official. That's all I wanted to say. I should have said that before.
Thank you.
Yes. No, wait, Rich, you're still sitting.
Hello, folks. Douglas D. Mateo, 262. I didn't plan on speaking, so I just kind of want to sit back and have a cup of coffee and take it all in, but I can't take it anymore. There was no misappropriation, Will, as far as money being spent from the board, whether it was auditorium lights or no lights. The way projects work, the auditorium seats were purchased. It was a fixed number. So it was $20,000, say, just don't hold me to it. If it was 20, we know we're spending 20. Okay, it's an easy number, easy project to fix. Anybody knows who's in construction, whether it's electrical, whether it's building, if we try to upgrade our lighting system or amplifier system in the auditorium, now what happens? That 10,000 might have went to 15 to 20, and we don't know where to stop, because now all of a sudden it's going, well, we went this far, I might as well go this much further. So it was an easy fix for us to paint our auditorium, our school colors, and make it look clean and presentable to anybody who comes for a play, a town function, whatever. Yes, the seats are great, everything looks great. We actually now conduct our board meetings in our auditorium, so it's a lot different. Yes, do I want to upgrade our lighting system? Absolutely. Do I want to make it more safer for our kids? Absolutely. But to throw that out there as an ex-board member to say that money was misappropriated or wasn't spent correctly is false. It's a lie. Okay, so the last referendums that were done, yes, it was $100,000 that was adopted as a referendum. Guess what happened? More money went to this building, let's say, than this building. Not that we don't want to fix all the buildings, but you had to fix a priority. And the priority might have been at that point to fix a roof. That's what we had to fix. So it was $100,000, 80 of it had to go to that roof. Guess what happened? The other 20 had to get divided up to whatever we had to fix. And then what happens? You get a priority list, your wish list. Well, next time. Guess what happens? There's no more next time. We're out of it. As far as you, Mr. Mayor, made a mention of, we should have, through the years of tried to fix our schools or try to do something, we wish we could have, Mr. Mayor. Out of all our budgets that we had, I can probably say 2 were probably passed. So when we come to you as a council, anybody else, if it's $300,000 that we need, you cut us down to 200, we got 100,000 left. Guess what happens? That same list we have to get repaired, we can't do it now. Because now a $300 project has to go to 100, now I can't fix the big things. Now I have to put a Band-Aid on that, because I still have to worry about curriculum. I still have to worry about our safety of our kids. And at that point, we had to worry about school buses. Where'd that come from? $300,000, $400,000. So before we make statements here, folks, on the board misappropriated funds, or the board did this, or did that, do some research, understand it. We had 10 budgets, 8 failed, maybe 2 were passed. And the 8 that were failed, we lost a lot of money. So as quickly as we want to blame the board, board members, we're all trying to do our best. So the money that we have, we have to kind of figure out what projects we have, and we have to prioritize. So please, there was no money that was spent inappropriately, there's no money we had a big party with, you know, Mr. Tomko got a helicopter, none of that stuff, okay? It's all false. Anybody who wants to come down and look at records, anybody who wants to come down and look at things, by all means do it. So please, Will, nothing was spent incorrectly, that the money was there, and we had to use it for other projects, or finish that project. But the money that we used for the auditorium was the money that we had, from Egan finding it, helping us do whatever we had to do. And it was a fixed number. It was 20 grand, let's say, we knew we were gonna end up with 20,000, that's what we had to do.
Thank you.
So, all right, so hope that clears it up.
Anyone else who hasn't spoken?
Karen Brecchia, 156 Lee Street. Regarding Market Street and drainage, we're going to be starting construction on the roads. Can that be addressed before the roads are taken care of? All up and down Market Street, there's no drainage. There's 2 drains.
We would have to first,
Before they do all the paving and fixing, shouldn't we address the fact that the drainage is totally
well, we'd have to
not correct?
contact the county also, because that's their
Well,
road.
who do you have to do, I mean, who do you have to speak to?
We'll have the engineer
Because
contact
it's
the
a
county.
county road, it always gets pushed aside.
No, it's
You
been
know?
paved a couple times. It's been
We
paved.
have a grant, it's
Excuse me?
starting in the spring, right? We have the money coming that they're gonna be going,
Right.
continuing down Market Street.
Just a short way
Okay.
to maybe the bridge over.
But we do have water problems, so.
You got water problems all over town, but we'll look into it.
Karen, are these puddles, or is it actually, we're talking about...
Over the curbs.
Over the curb?
Over the curbs. You have to walk over the, through puddles to go over your.
So I'm just wondering...
You drive up and down Market Street, check and see how many drains there are on the whole street from here
Well,
to.
That's one
the
issue,
diner.
but my concern is whether it's the drainage, the lack of manholes, as you would say, or the elevations in those areas are low, not going into
No,
the...
there's no manholes. There's no openings for water to drain. So there's leaders coming down to the road from everybody's properties that just lays on the street with no manholes.
Yeah, well, originally, it probably was designed to pitch into a manhole, but you're probably getting suppressions in between right now. So I'm going to check it out. I'm going to take a look at it.
Yeah, I just think, if you're going to spend money, it should be done right from the beginning, not after the fact.
Thank you. Anyone else? If no one else wants to speak, I'll close the public portion.
Can I just say something, Mr. Mayor?
I'll close it, and then you can say something, okay?
Just one last thing I'd like to know. At Tuesday's Chamber of Commerce meeting, which I didn't attend, but I found out Soundview is part of our organization. They kept the trade name Markel. Super Bowl Sunday, they're planning to relight that sign.
Yes.
So it'll be noticed on the park.
Article in the paper.
Anyone else who wishes to be heard? If not, I have a motion to close the public portion.
Mr. Martino would like to say...
Yeah, he can, I'm not closing the meeting.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Mr. Caramagna and Mr. Coletti, all in favor, opposed, say, Mr.
To the gentleman that said, if I did say something incorrectly, it's because I'm passionate about what's happening. And if I did offend you, I would publicly apologize. But I'm going to relook at the tape, and if I did say that, I apologize to you and whoever else I offended. It's because I'm passionate about what's going on and passionate about the children, and it's not to make, believe me, I understand what it is to be out of work, unfortunately, and sometimes things don't get said the right way. I'm new, and I apologize to you, and if I offended you, I am sorry.
Thank you. The comment about, my comment about the Board of Education, I'm talking about boards of education from years past have let these things go. Doesn't necessarily mean people were serving on the board now. In years past, they should have done this. Budgets that were defeated were brought back to the council, monies were cut, there weren't any appeals. Board of Ed didn't appeal them, so those cuts stayed. And that's what we had the budgets that went to the public voted no, and the council followed their request that the budget be cut. Nothing wrong with that. And if you go back a few more years, you didn't put it in the budget, you went out on the referendum and you did it that way. That was the best way of doing it. because you're paying that over a number of years. You're not paying it in that budget. So that you want to fix something, you put it in the referendum, and you can get more money than you can fit in the budget. Thank you. May I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Boncino, second by Mr. Catamagna. Any discussion? All in favor, opposed? So ordered. Ladies and gentlemen, please keep in mind. Never mind. Thank you.
I don't think that much, but a little bit.